Hello and welcome to the morning sports briefing here on Tuesday, the 22nd of June. Hi, I'm Paul. I'll be your host this morning. In the news today, we'll cover off on the cricket with the World Test Championship and also South Africa's tour to the West Indies. Also, the All Blacks named their squad yesterday. We've also got finals action from the NBA. The netball rounded out their action for the weekend. Plus, we saw the end of the US Open, where Andy Rice will be bringing us his final round report. Also, the LPGA has been in action, and I think I missed off the motorsport news yesterday. So we'll go through the IndyCar, the F1, and the Supercars action from the weekend. This is your best way to start the day up speed with all of the important sports news, and so that in fact I don't miss it this time. Let's talk about that. The motorsport first. Over in Formula One, and at the French Grand Prix, Max Verstappen beat Lewis Hamilton, passing him late on due to his tactics to take an extra pit stop and have fresh tyres. Sergio Perez, Max Verstappen's Red Bull teammate, finished in third place. Lewis Hamilton there in Mercedes in second. Over in the IndyCar, it was the Rev Group Grand Prix, and we saw Alex Palou take his second win of the season, leading just for 5 laps. Long-time leader Joseph Newgarden, was out in the lead, but a late yellow card, a late yellow flag brought the field back together, and at the restart he got stuck in 5th gear and had to watch all the other drivers go past him. He finished in the end in 21st place. Scott Dixon finished in 4th overall, and Scott McLaughlin down in 14th place. That means that Alex Palou leads the championship on 349 points ahead of Pato O'Ward. Scott Dixon in 3rd place there. And in the overall standings, Scott McLaughlin's a rookie at this level, in 12th place. Over in the supercars, and after a poor first race of the weekend, Van Gisbergen went on to win the second and third races of the weekend to stretch his lead in the championship. So he's going fantastically over there in Australia on in the supercars. Moving on then to the netball, and we had the final game of round 10 between the Tactics and the Magic, and it was a big win for the Tactics, winning it 68-51, a record for them as far as the score margin goes. Also, 68 points is the highest score so far this season. But even with that, it was built off interceptions and some very strong defense from them. That sees the Tactics up into 3rd place on 18 points, equal points with Southern Steel at the moment, but with a better goal difference. The Magic still looking for their second win of the season, just 1 win from their 10 games so far, stuck down there in last place. Moving on then to the golf, and let's bring in Andy Rice, who will give us our final round report.
And at the close of the US Open Golf Championship at Torrey Pines near San Diego, it's Spain's Jon Rahm who's claimed an incredible first major after finishing with back-to-back birdies on a breathless final day. Rahm, 26 years of age, roared at a wall of fans after his putt on the 18th took him to 6 under par and gave him a 1-shot lead over South African Louis Oosthuizen. Oosthuizen then bogeyed the 17th, meaning he needed to eagle the last to force a playoff, but could only birdie. Rory McIlroy and Bryson DeChambeau challenged but faded late on. Both players held a share of the lead early in the round, but were among many to struggle on the back nine, while Rahm was the only contender to not drop a shot on the closing holes. The victory comes 2 weeks after he was forced to withdraw from a PGA Tour event. He was leading by 6 shots after 3 rounds because of a positive coronavirus test. The world number 3 said his main concern at the time was for his wife and 2-month-old baby, and it was them that he celebrated with on his first Father's Day, no less, after the nerveless birdie putt saw him close out a 4-under par 67, the joint lowest score of the day. The leaderboard was congested after a flurry of birdies on the front 9, but players were fighting to avoid bogeys on the back 9. Oosthuizen was the last to fall when he dropped a shot at the 17th, and he could not repeat the sensational eagle he made there on the 18th on Saturday, which had given him a share of the overnight lead. The 38-year-old, who won the 2010 Open Championship, also shot a closing 67, but has now finished runner-up in a major on 6 occasions, including last month's USPGA Championship. Rahm played the back 9 in 2 under par, carding 7 pars before the grandstand finish saw him become the first Spaniard to win the US Open. Rahm dedicated his win to the Spanish legend Severiano Ballesteros, who claimed 5 major titles but died 10 years ago of brain cancer at the age of 54. I knew my best golf was to come, and I have a hard time explaining what just happened because I can't believe I made the last 2 putts, and I'm the first Spanish player to win the US Open, Rahm continued. This is definitely for Sevi. I know he tried a lot. I know he wanted to win this one most of all. What a fantastic way to close out the US Open Golf Championship. Onwards now to July. It's the Open Championship at Royal St George's in England. It promises to be an absolute cracker.
Thank you very much for Andy, who's our golf correspondent and bringing us reports from all of the majors as well as the Ryder Cup this year. So great to have him on board, and wonderful for Rahm there to take that victory over in the LPGA. It was the Major LPGA Classic, and Korda took the win at 25 under par, 2 shots clear of Maguire in the end. Lydia Ko had a tough weekend and finished down in 61st place at 8 under par for that one. Moving on then to the NBA, and over in the NBA, 2 games yesterday. We found out we had the deciding game between the 76ers and the Hawks. The Hawks came out on top 103-96, beating the number 1 seeds in the East there to make their way through to the conference final, where they'll be taking on the Bucks. That means that both of the number 1 seeds are now out of the playoffs, with the LA Clippers having beaten the Utah Jazz down in the West. The LA Clippers took on the Phoenix Suns for the in their first game of their championship final series. The Suns winning that one 120-114 in that one. So they'll be back in action tomorrow. And the Bucks versus the Hawks will start their series on Thursday. Moving on then to the rugby, and the All Blacks named their squad yesterday with Sam Whitelock replacing Sam Cane as the captain due to injury there. Quinta Paya, the biggest surprise name in the squad, especially after he'd been named in the Maori All Blacks late last week. So I guess he'll be being pulled from that squad, and they'll be having to name a replacement. Do join us at 8 p.m. this evening for the Driving Wall Show, where we'll go through the whole squad and give you our opinions on it and see how close it matched to our predicted squad from last week. So do join us this evening at 8 p.m. for the Driving Wall Show. Finally, in the cricket, and over in the West Indies, South Africa have beaten the West Indies by 158 runs. There in their second innings, they reached 174 with Rassie van Dusen top scoring on 75, not out. The only other person to sit around with him was Rabada, who scored 40. Again, lots of single figures in this one, with the 7 batsmen not making it into double figures. Leading the bowling was Roach, who took 4 wickets for the West Indies. And the West Indies came into bat, though they had a 300 and odd target. They reached 165 all out, with Chase unfortunately unable to play, absent Hurt. Kieran Powell at the top of the order, top scored with 51. But again, too many batsmen getting out in single figures, with another 6 batsmen not making it in double figures in this one. 5 wickets for Maharaj, with led the bowling for South Africa as they took the win in that one, with I think a day or two, with a day to spare in there. Unfortunately, over in Southampton for the World Test Championships, we had our second day rained out in that one. Just a reminder as to how things stand. India were all bowled out for 217, with Carl Jamieson taking 5 wickets. New Zealand currently sit at 101 for 2 in reply. But with the 4th day rained out, we do have 2 days left. We have day 5 and the reserve day, but time is starting to run out on this one if we are to get a result. Losing 2 days to rain and then also losing time to bad light as well, really has slowed this test match down. You have now started the day best way to with all the important sports news. I say, don't forget to join us at 8 p.m. this evening for the Driving Maul Show.